Sally Steele, and welcome to my show. Today's show is the second of my special two-part episode of my Alice Cooper interview session. Alice talks about when he was on Hollywood Squares, what he feels his best song was, and what he was like in high school. You'll be surprised. But now, here's Alice.
Hey, Sally.
Hi, Alice. Do you remember
me?
How you doing? Do you remember me?
Well, let me see. If I saw you, I would.
Do you remember the blonde limo driver in Vegas?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Sally. How you doing?
Good. Hey, you know, 5 years later, I got my rock magazine going, a crazy blonde limo driver publishing
Well, I remember you used to talk about it all the time.
Well, I didn't even think about it right then. I just know I loved interviewing you, and, you know, someday I'm going to get you a copy of it. We're like all full gloss, full color, 52-page now, and, you know,
that's great.
I hope to get you a copy when you come into town this
Yeah,
time.
you know, we're going to be there for 3 days over there at the,
well, they didn't
where is it? At
the Orleans.
Yeah, the Orleans.
Yeah, I already promoted that in the magazine. You know, they didn't let me in last time. I hope your people let me in this year.
They didn't really?
Yeah, they wouldn't approve us to take pictures or passes or anything.
You know what? I don't know why.
Well,
I have no idea.
I'm going to march on down there.
But you know what I'll do? What I've been doing is I keep 2 or 3 extra zombie costumes.
Okay.
Right? And I have guest zombies.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll be a guest zombie.
What time and where? I will.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to put Jamie on with you at the end of the thing, and I will invite you to be my guest zombie.
Ah, that would be the highlight of my...
That will make up for the last time.
That would be the highlight of my life, Alice.
Yeah, well, it'll be fun, because it's on the Welcome to My Nightmare part of the show, and it's really just sort of wandering around the stage looking lost in a zombie outfit.
Oh, that's so cool. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I just want to say, I know we got to hurry up with this, but, you know, I promote rock and roll, and I put you in this magazine at least every 2 or 3 issues. You're always in there, and
thank you.
I'm always keeping you alive here. We all love you.
Oh, well, thank you. That's great. And you know, it's funny now that so much rock is in casinos now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, where it didn't used to be. I mean, it was sort of like now half of your tour is in major big casinos around the country. And when I first started doing that, I think we were the first ones that did it up in Lake Tahoe with the Welcome to My Nightmare show.
Right.
And now it's so funny. I go in and I go, let me see who's coming in, and I'm going to go, Janet Jackson. You know, these massive acts are coming into the casinos.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because you can do your full show there.
Uh-huh.
These aren't little casinos. I mean, these are, you know, full-blown, you know, showrooms, so it's great.
Well, you know, that's one thing. I was eavesdropping when you were talking to Shep Gordon that day in the limo, and you said, you know, all these, I think that we should have like a casino of a Welcome to My Nightmare casino with Alice Cooper slot machines. What's up with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always said it would be Alice Cooper's haunted hotel.
Yes, that's right.
Right, and, you know, everybody would wear, you know, all the people, it would just be full costume, you know. Everybody would be in black, you know. It would be like the Addams Family.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm off of that. I'm going to be at the grand opening of that when you do that. I'm going to be giving you the scissors for the ribbon.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, when you think of all the hotel, the not just hotels, but the casinos, some of the older ones that are just out of date, if you took one of those old ones and just redid it, and just redid it as a haunted hotel, that would be so great.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think of it, you know, in some of the suites, if people went to sleep at night and you could rotate the walls around, so when they woke up, it looked like an entirely different room.
You've always got the best ideas, Alice.
I mean, they would wake up and they would go, what? This isn't my room. You know.
That sounds like a little Charles Manson-ish to me. But,
no, I just think it would be very, very interesting to do that. And the only, you know, you have all the sci-fi channels on and only horror movies on the TV.
That sounds
That would really be fun.
Yeah, please do that. We need that in Vegas.
It would be good.
You know, I know they cut me off, or your alarm clock rings here to cut me off, so I got to get these questions in.
Okay.
You know, tell me, what kind of kid were you? What kind of kid were you? Were you like torturing frogs and poking them with a stick and making them bleed?
No, I was the exact opposite. I was Ferris Bueller.
Okay. So you were a nerd.
I was a kid in high school that basically ran my school.
Oh, so you were popular.
Did you ever see the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was him.
Oh, okay. So you were popular.
I had it popular, and I had everybody wired.
All right.
I had it so that everybody, made excuses for me. Everybody covered for me. Yeah. So it was very funny when I saw that movie. I said, "Oh, that's me."
Oh. Cool. Well,
and the weird juxtaposition on that is the fact that I wrote Schools Out, and I'm 18. All these angst, songs, and I loved high school.
Really?
I had a great time in high school.
Oh my God!
I mean, to me, it was like all the girls were there, and I never did homework because all the girls did the homework for me, and the teachers wanted me, they didn't want me to fail. So I kind of had to deal with the teachers that I'll keep the class entertained. You just give me a C.
Oh, right. Yeah, I bet you had your own club. You were like in the Glee Club and all that.
I was like, I was in the Letterman's Club because I was a 4-year Letterman.
You're destroying the image. Don't tell me this.
No, everybody in the band were 4-year Lettermen. We were all athletes.
Oh, my God. Oh.
We were all on the track and cross-country team.
And I've identified with you all these years of being like the outcast. It just ruins everything.
Well, in some ways we were. We were all on the track team. We were all in the journalism on the newspaper. We were the only band at the school. So you could see how I had everybody covered. I mean, I had every single base covered on this thing. And yet we were still the guys with the long hair, which was looked down upon. So, it was just one of those things where we really did have all the bases covered.
Wow. I also, along with your high school years, tell me the most rewarding part of your career.
Well, I think the longevity.
Not a single event?
It's 45 years. I started when I was 16. And I'm 61 now.
Okay.
So, the only job I've ever had is lead singer in a band.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you're making a great living from it.
Well, and the great thing is that's all I ever wanted to do, and that's what I got to do for 40 years. And the longevity of Alice Cooper is probably the most remarkable thing about it.
Well, did you have like a favorite award or something that you ever got?
Well, I think the first time, honestly, when you get a gold album, that's really an amazing moment. But when you're a band like we were, and most people were against us, the idea of us having a #1 record was just absolutely unheard of.
Right.
And we had 2 or 3 of them, so the idea that we had 26 albums and they're all gold, platinum, or whatever, that to me is like amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I know. We're proud of you. Was there anything that you're embarrassed of, that you did, oh, I'm ashamed that I did that in your career?
Oh, well, yeah, there are points I think that when you just made it and you're kind of full of yourself, and I read some of my interviews and I go, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Of course, the older you get, the classier you get. But there were times when we were just we challenged everybody. We said, if you think you got a better show than us, then I guarantee you don't. And you have all these. Your ego is pretty big when you're 20 years old, 21, 22. But I'm glad we grew out of that.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Nobody can do anything better than what you've done. So. Well,
no, to me, it was. I always believed in being totally professional, and there was never a time when we were ever late, or unprofessional. We were always rehearsed. We would never be late for an audience. We like to run the show like clockwork, and I think that does keep you around for a long time.
Was there ever a song? What do you feel is the best song that you ever wrote?
Well, when it comes to most popular song, of course, is "School's Out." There are songs that aren't even hits that I think were the best songs. There was a song called "Might As Well Be on Mars." Mm-hmm. That was one of the prettiest songs I ever wrote.
What album was that?
And I think it's on, let me see, "Might As Well Be on Mars." I think it's on the "Hey Stupid" album.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But I mean, there's songs that you're really proud of that never were big hits.
Mm-hmm. Like Generation Landslide. Well, that was a big hit.
Well, Generation Landslide was not a hit. No, that was an album cut.
Right.
That, yeah, I mean, if I think about lyrically, that might have been one of the best songs.
I've always thought so. That was the first question I asked. I go, were you high when you wrote that? And you're like, no, I think I was drinking, though.
I think I was drinking, yeah.
Like,
I remember writing it, though. I wrote it in the Canary Islands.
Like, out on the beach?
Off the coast of Africa. We were in the hotel room, and there was a big storm out there, and we were writing songs, and that was one of the songs that just took about 10 minutes to write that.
Did you write all those lyrics, or they wrote them?
Oh, no, I write all the lyrics for the band.
Wow, that's amazing. So the storm is coming down, you're writing those, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I publish the lyrics to that song a lot when I do one of your interviews, because I want people to see how great lyrically you were.
Oh, well, thank you.
You said that, I was talking about things being embarrassed. Is it true you were on Hollywood Squares?
Oh, I liked Hollywood Squares. The deal about Hollywood Squares was this. I always tried to put Alice where he didn't belong.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked to sort of force Alice upon the public. Yeah, so everybody thought that they were safe watching daytime TV, and here comes Alice Cooper on, on Hollywood Squares. And I felt right at home on Hollywood Squares.
Who were you sitting next to? Do you remember?
I was sitting next to Paul Lynde.
That's what I was going to say. So you didn't.
And I actually got him laughing. Because one of the questions was, if you're in the Army, they said, Alice, if you're in the Army and you're taking a shower, and an officer walks in, are you required to salute him? And I said, you mean with your hand? And Paul Lynde looked at me and he said, that sounds like one of my answers.
That's great. Was that the only game show you were ever on?
Yeah, I think that was the only one I ever did. But,
that's great.
But I enjoyed being on that show.
Yeah, well, you excel on everything.
Well, it was just one of those things where when I'm at home and I'm watching the show and somebody would have an answer like that, I would answer it the way I would answer it, and I'd go, yeah, I could be on that show.
Wow. Well, I think we've probably got time for, they're going to cut me off here.
Yeah, I think we got time for one more question.
Yeah, okay, is it true in the 1970s that the producer walked out on you in disgust, and that's how Bob Ezrin came in and started producing you guys?
No, not at all. It was Bob Ezrin came in, and he saw us play at Max's Kansas City in New York, and he was supposed to come over and look at us just to see if it was interesting enough to do. He saw us play, and he immediately said, I want to do these guys.
He was just
it had nothing to do with, we were turned down by every single, recording label. But Bob had a vision. Bob saw it and said, I know what to do with this band. If you get a band with this much image and this much controversy, and they write hits, it's going to go through the roof. So Bob sat down and said, we're not going to try to be underground with our hits. We're just going to write songs that they can't ignore.
That's great. And he was young, too, so he could identify.
Yeah, he was a kid. He hadn't
18.
Yeah, he hadn't produced anything either, but he was smart enough to understand what Alice Cooper needed. And he gave it to us. So, I mean, he did the first 7 albums with us, and they were all platinum albums.
You're so lucky in everything, in your career, in your life. Is there anything you've ever been unlucky for? I mean,
well, I'll tell you the truth. Sometimes the old saying is this: the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. The more you do what you do well, the luckier you get because you create your own luck.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I knew nothing about publishing, and I'm running a rock.
And there you are. So you did something that made that whole thing come alive.
yeah, it was my passion for your music and a lot of the other artists that don't get heard.
Well, see, I mean, your passion alone, but then you had to take certain steps in order to get to where you're at.
Yeah, kill myself.
And that's the same process as a band does. You take small steps in order to get a big thing done.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I'm just so glad I'm still around, and I just love writing about you, and you know, I'm so glad we're getting you in this issue right as we're going to press tonight. So.
Okay, great, and you know, I'm going to give you Jamie, and if you want to be a zombie, he'll get the details.
Oh yeah, I'll stay on the line. Thank you so much, Alice. I'll wait right here.
Bye-bye.
The last time I saw Alice, I said, "Hey Alice," and he's like, "Hey Sally, are you still driving?" And I said, "No, not for a long time." And I said, "Well, how do you remember that?" And he's like, "Oh, I always remember the important stuff." I love you, Alice. Thank you so much for all the great interviews and memories. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you right here next week. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you on the streets of rock and roll.